Scorpio. This is Michelle, and I'm here to do your 2019 year ahead reading. So this reading will cover the entire year. We'll break it down into 4 quarters. And something a little different with this reading is that I will be using a standard deck of playing cards. These are the B playing cards. And then I will bring in some clarifiers at the end from the Universal Weight Tarot deck. This tarot deck is illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, but recolored by Mary Hanson Roberts. So a little different look from the deck that we have been using previously. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards a bit more here until I feel they are ready for a cut. This is for Scorpio 2019. Scorpio 2019. Okay, I feel that that is it. That's going to do the trick for us, Scorpio. All right, let's see what the playing cards bring up for you for the year 2019. And we are starting with the 2 of spades, followed by the 8 of diamonds and the 6 of spades. For the second quarter, the Jack of clubs, 3 of diamonds, and the 9 of hearts. Third quarter, we have the 10 of clubs, the 7 of clubs, and the 4 of hearts. For the final quarter, the Ace of hearts, the 6 of clubs, and the King of diamonds. Wow. Okay, Scorpio, let's take a look at each quarter and then we will pull it all together. So for the first quarter, it looks like for some Scorpios that there is going to be a decision that you are thinking about or want to make, and it looks like it is related to establishing yourself in a long-term, I want to say, financial venture or business. Now, I'm seeing a double-edged sword here, though, and so it can also be that the decision that you're going to make is not only about a new business, about establishing yourself in a new business, but it's a decision about a business that you are already firmly established or entrenched in. It can go either way, or it could include both. It looks like, a Scorpio, that this decision has kept you, I want to say, somewhat stuck, if that makes sense. this is something that you want to establish yourself in. You would like to establish yourself in, but making the decision is creating some problems or some limitations for you. And part of it can just be that there are a lot of unknowns involved with making this decision and being divided in this way. It seems like there's just too much at stake, I'm hearing, and there's a lot of unknowns involved. By the second quarter, though, I see some movement. I see there's possibly that there is someone that is going to come into your life, that might be able to help you make this decision regarding work. I'm seeing work and finances. I'm sort of combining those two things together. I think this person is very enthusiastic. They're full of life. And if it's not the case that somebody actually comes into the picture that makes you feel better about which way to go with this, it could be that just you yourself feel more alive and you come to life, and there is some movement that is made regarding this decision. I have to say, with this Nine of Hearts here, what this suggests for you, Scorpio, is that by the second quarter of 2019, you are going to see your desires, well, let's just say it. This is the wish card, right? This is your wish comes true. And so what this looks like is that you start to see some movement regarding this new financial venture. And you're getting your first flavor of this. You can really sense that, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. This is what I needed. You're sort of, I want to say, over a hump. You get over that hump of the first quarter, and you are now into a situation which feels a little more promising and satisfying. By the fourth quarter even, it can feel like you have actually made a very substantial, I want to say, like, completion, like you've completed a major phase in relation to this project, in relation to your ambitions. At the same time, again, this is going to sound a little bit contradictory, but having made this completion also creates a little bit of confusion or chaos for you regarding your ambitions. That is so contradictory and confusing that only you will know what that means. But there's a way in which we can imagine, if you are in a transitional period in life, if you're transitioning from one thing into another, which all of life is about that, right? It's just kind of like a cycle of transitions. You are pretty deep into this, I feel. You're pretty deep into this transition. And that you come to a conclusion for a certain stage of this, which I believe has to do with work, ambitions, and goals. That completion creates a little bit of uncertainty for you, like, oh my gosh, I actually made it this far. Now where do I go? Now what do I do? But I think in the end, what you discover is, again, this is a theme that's coming through for me now, is you feel more satisfaction through this completion. And so even though there's a little bit of confusion about it, I think you also have a better sense of what exactly you want to do. And it's something that makes you feel better on a consistent basis, right? There's less of this roller coaster ride emotionally. Okay, enough of that already. I feel that part of what some Scorpios are manifesting here is something more, a sense of satisfaction and happiness that is just more even, more stable. Now, once you get a taste of this, I think it's kind of gradual. It's like in the second quarter, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of liking this thing. I'm liking this new idea, this new thing that I'm doing. And by the third quarter, it's like, you know what? This is good, right? Okay, this is sticking with me. By the final quarter, I think you have a sense that, yes, indeed, this is the way to go. All right, I'm not actually reading these cards reversed. It doesn't matter. You can, but I'm just reading them. It doesn't matter, even though it's this way. But so there's this sense that, you know what? Yes, this is it. This is it. This is where I want to go. This is where I want to establish myself in terms of my goals, ambitions, and my life path. This is an extremely positive conclusion, bringing in the King of Diamonds. Also tells me that you will have a much better sense of how the finances are going to work out as you make this transition. And I think that's a big concern, even all along. I think that has been a concern, but that by the end of the year that you feel a lot more in control and in charge of the financial picture. Beautiful, beautiful reading, Scorpio. I'm going to bring in the tarot cards now for clarification. I really don't feel like clarification is needed in my mind anyway. I have a good sense of what the cards are bringing up, the playing cards, but we're going to bring in these tarot cards. Just let's see for additional insight. And this is for Scorpio for 2019, the year of 2019. We might also get some more specific information from the tarot cards. We have the Death card, very common in the Scorpio reading, and the Page of Pentacles. Okay, makes perfect sense. As I am shuffling the cards and pulling them out, Scorpio, I know that a lot of folks that watch these readings can certainly interpret the cards on their own. And you know, I think, what they mean for you personally more than I do, in a more specific way. And so you can sort of think about, what does that Death card mean in relation to this first quarter and the playing cards and the Page of Pentacles? What might that mean? That decision that's perhaps holding me up just a little bit, the sense that I'm entrenched perhaps in one way or structure for bringing income into myself, and knowing that at the same time I perhaps would like to get into something else or establish myself in another line of work. I'm asking for cards for Scorpio. We have the Fool, followed by the Sun. Goodness, 3 major arcana cards. That's a lot. Okay, and more cards for Scorpio now for the third quarter. More cards for Scorpio for the third quarter. So how does that Fool and the Sun relate to the second quarter? These are the cards for Scorpio 2019 third quarter. 2 cards, please. It's kind of strange. I wasn't planning this, but I'm seeing 3 cards, and so we're going to do all 3. 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and the Emperor. Okay, what might that mean? 2 more cards for Scorpio. 2 more cards for Scorpio for 2019, the final quarter. Thank you for your patience, Scorpio. Well, we had the Magician flip out. Going with the 4 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles again. So there were 2 there plus the card that flipped out. Interesting. Okay, all right. Let's just start with the first 2 cards from the tarot. The Death card, which seems to come up for the Scorpio readings a lot, right? And the Page of Pentacles. We've talked about in the past how the Death card, we might associate that with, or yes, let's say associate it with the 8th house in astrology, and the 8th house also has a strong association with Scorpio. So this is really the transformation card, right? The rebirth card, from death into new life. And so that's a concept that Scorpio is very familiar with. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. You know, this is exactly really what I was talking about in the first quarter. If we think about it, that there's a decision that needs to be made about which way to go regarding some kind of, I want to say, it could be a vocation even, like a vocational path. And there's also the sense of a rebirth. So I get the sense really that this isn't like your first career. It could be for some of you, or it could even be, let's say, for example, you've had your college career and now you're going into your professional career. That would make sense. But I get the sense more that this is like from one career into another career. It is a rebirth. And that you would like to establish yourself in this new vocational path. The vocational path is not just a charity, though. This is a way in which you will sustain yourself through this work. And so those are very positive cards, I have to say. Seeing the Death card here, extremely positive, because it shows that there is a process of rebirth occurring. And the Page of Pentacles showing that a new start is underway. Because this is a year ahead reading, this is a big process reading, right? It's not just like, well, this happens in January, and this happens in March, or this happens this week, and this happens that week. This is the whole entire year. It's encompassing a big life process. And so for the second quarter, we see the Fool and the Sun. Again, this is really just a mirror of what we saw in the second quarter here. And so we can look at these cards almost as a confirmation. I had said I think that you are going to feel quite more alive. There might even be another person that comes in that helps you to feel more alive, but you can feel the beginnings of that new growth, and there's a great deal of satisfaction. Well, that's just what we have here in the Fool. The Fool feels alive. The Fool is taking some risks out in that fresh, cold, beautiful mountain air with the sun shining. Now, of course, we do have the little doggy here saying, be careful not to injure yourself as you take that leap, right? But the sense is from this, and including the playing cards, is that by venturing out in this way and taking this risk, you bring yourself alive. You feel alive. And knowing Scorpio, you are not going to do anything without thinking very carefully about it. This can be your own self, perhaps your own self, your own mechanism within yourself that is telling you to be careful, and I feel that you will be careful, and because of that, everything is going to work out just fine. Look at this. This is very analogous to the Nine of Hearts. Of course, this would be perhaps the Nine of Cups, which is card of satisfaction, but we can see that the wish comes true at this point, or a certain stage of it. And Scorpio, you just feel, I want to say, rewarded. And if this comes about for you, Scorpio, I hope you will just soak in the beautiful rays, because you deserve this. You deserve this warmth, this life, and this joy. We all deserve this, of course, in life, but you have worked so hard, and so, you are a fixed sign, Scorpio, so I know that about you, that you have kept your nose to the grindstone, and you have worked hard, and you deserve this reward, confirmation, and joy. Now, in the third quarter, there's that sense of completion. There's a little bit of confusion, but at the same time, there's more happiness, or you feel like there's the potential for more happiness. What is the tarot seeing about that? I think the confusion can potentially come about because when we make a transition financially, there are concerns, of course, about how the financial picture is going to work out in the future. And so this could be a little bit of a fear that's lingering in your mind. And I don't see this coming about for you, but I can see you thinking about, how do I avoid this? Here you are, Scorpio, in your independence, right? And if you aren't this fully independent as the Nine of Pentacles pictures, then I see you manifesting this. This is what I see you manifesting. And I believe also, now we have the Emperor here showing your really, I want to say, high level ability to execute plans and move forward with things. And this is partially why you have been so successful and will be so successful, because you know how to make plans and how to execute those plans. You are not one to just jump off the cliff like the Fool, right? Which we saw here. And that's why I mentioned that I don't see any danger here. Scorpio is a fixed sign. You think about things very carefully before you make that move. That's the little doggy there, okay? That's you. This is your mind, right? You've got sort of like two things going on. Here's your mind saying, okay, be careful, plan everything out. And then here is your spirit and your soul saying, I feel set free. It's like both things at once can be happening for you, Scorpio. So far, just beautiful. In the final quarter, we see that, yes, indeed, you are sensing this is the way to go. This is how I want to establish myself, and I feel more empowered. Look at this. Here we go. This is, we're really, as I said, I wasn't really looking for clarification, but perhaps what this is really doing is it's confirming the reading, because we're seeing the same concepts coming through. Yes, there are some concerns about money, and perhaps there's going to be some budgeting involved. That makes sense, especially if you are starting out on something new, and especially if it is not just a job, but it's more of like a vocation. With the King of Pentacles shows that you have got this thing. And the King of Pentacles, by the way, corresponds to the King of Diamonds. All right, this would be the equivalent card. I sometimes think of a sword when I see that diamond and get mixed up, but this would be the same. And so this is really reiterating the idea that you're going to feel like you have a lot more control over your finances. Perhaps you have budgeted things out and figured out how you are exactly going to make this long-term big shift and establish yourself anew. It could very well be that you're working in several vocations at once for a while, several vocations at once, but at least getting the first flavors of the new important work is going to go a long ways to making you feel quite a bit better and more empowered. I think that you will have the sense that you can do this. You can make it work. That is what I'm hearing, Scorpio. You can make this work. You will make it work. It does not have to happen overnight, and it probably won't. This is such a large scale transition that it will just take time. And so what I'm hearing and sensing is to just take these small steps, these small, I want to say, victories. Take these smaller victories, each step that you take, even if it is just a small one, when you get a taste of satisfaction in relation to what it is that you really want to do with your life, just savor that and know that it is happening, even if it is a fairly slow and long process. Scorpio, that's your reading for 2019. I want to thank you so much for being here, for the views, for the likes, for the shares, and to the subscribers. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for watching and for listening, and I'll see you next time.